Live, up and down the coast, from the beaches to the valleys, your news channel starts right now.
Good Sunday evening to you. I'm Dave Alley, filling in for Tracy Lair tonight, wishing everyone, all the dads out there, a happy Father's Day. We begin the newscast tonight with another brush fire that took place in the South San Luis Obispo County area, east side of Nipomo. Now, this began around noon today, again in East Nipomo, right off of Highway 166 and the Wyman Road area. This took place almost in the exact same area. There was a fire on Friday. That blaze burned 16 acres. Now, CAL FIRE says that this fire was pushed along with high winds at the time, growing to about 54 acres in size. And because it burned in a very dry, grassy area, it created a lot of smoke that plumed up high into the sky. This could be seen all throughout South San Luis Obispo County, all the way into the Santa Maria Valley as well. CAL FIRE is reminding people to be very careful around dry grass, especially as we now enter the summer season.
If you're doing defensible space, if you're outdoors recreating, just pay attention around the dry grass and try not to create a spark.
That fire was 100% contained by 3 o'clock this afternoon. As of right now, still unknown what caused that fire. It remains under investigation. Highway 166 was shut down for a couple of hours before it finally was able to be reopened at around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Meantime, the Kristen Smart murder trial in Salinas, that has been postponed 1 week. The delay is due to a health concern for one of the trial participants who was not named by the court. The Superior Court of California in Monterey County made that announcement today. Now, the court said that there will be no trial activity this week for Paul Flores. That's the man accused of killing Smart. Instead, the court said scheduled jury duty will now begin next week on Monday, June 27th. Jury selection for Ruben Flores, Paul's father, who is accused of helping his son cover up the alleged crime. That will start at a date to be determined. The court said it will provide an update when that does become available. Firefighters put out a fire at Joe Nightingale School in Orcutt this afternoon. Santa Barbara County Fire says one classroom there was damaged. Officials said that the firefighters took just about 10 minutes to knock down that fire, which was located in a locked and unoccupied classroom. No injuries were reported, and the cause of that is also under investigation. Time now for Shawn Quien and our first look at our weather. Hi, Shawn.
What the wind map, as always, we're definitely seeing those winds out by Point Conception back toward the Gaviota coastline, and of course all the way to Goleta. These winds generally in the range of about 20 to maybe 40 miles an hour on the high end. So the good news is it's not overly strong, and it also appears to be kind of weakening. The stronger gusts now are being more confined offshore, and of course we do have a wind advisory that has been extended, though. Not only is it along the south coast, and we'll have that until tomorrow morning, it's also been extended down into Ventura County mountain areas. And that likewise will stay to tomorrow morning about 3 a.m. So a north wind, meaning that some areas could see those gusts getting stronger as you go below those south-facing canyons, because our mountains tend to run east to west in this part of the world right here. You get on this side of the mountains, it can really accelerate and rush downhill. Also saw some interesting temperatures earlier because of those north winds, meaning that you had some warming in certain areas. Look at Ojai, Santa Barbara, and Goleta, and even Gaviota. All well above everybody else to all areas, and that's because, again, those winds are north, and as they go downhill, you get some compressional heating. When I come back, we'll talk about what to expect for the last full day of spring. We transition to summer on Tuesday, and guess what? It's going to feel very summer-like for inland areas. Details coming up in just a few minutes. Dave?
All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Shawn. Today marks Juneteenth. That's the new federal holiday commemorating the day the news of the emancipation reached slaves in Galveston, Texas, who were the last ones to hear that they were free. This was back on June 19th, 1865. A woman from Texas named Opal Lee started a movement to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Now known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, the 95-year-old campaigned on the issue for decades.
Please continue the kinds of things that you know we need to become one people. Here, it's not a white thing, it's not a black thing, it's an American thing.
Lee even held a 2.5-mile march each year to commemorate the 2.5 years it took for slaves in Texas to learn that they were free. Back in 1980, Texas became the first state to make Juneteenth a state holiday. In 2019, 47 states and the District of Columbia then followed suit. And last year, President Biden signed a law making it a federal holiday, a dream finally coming true for Lee and for many others. Back here locally, Juneteenth celebrations kicked off with a block party in Santa Barbara, specifically in the Funk Zone in the city. The celebration there included a lot of live performances as well as free food. Also, a kid zone was taking place. Black-owned businesses lined up the 200 block of Gray Avenue, selling art, jewelry, clothing, and other accessories. The energy, we were told, was electric as people grooved out there to the music, twirling on all sorts of things like rollerblades, and a lot of smiles from people grinning ear to ear.
Freedom to me means I can do what I want to do, go where I want to go, live where I want to go, be who I want to be.
It's beautiful because we get to see a lot of the black people in Santa Barbara that are really doing things, really trying to make an impact on the community and also welcome people into black culture.
For me, it's just more personal than that, because my son is black.
And now we're free, and I'm able to put on events like this, and I'm able to be black and queer and live my best life, and I'm just so grateful.
And the Funk Zone is also known as historically Black Santa Barbara. Naputmo Community Park was a very popular location today for families wanting to enjoy Father's Day. Families there gathered at the park to grill, enjoy time with friends, and even came out to watch their kids play Little League Baseball. A District 65 All-Star Tournament was taking place there today. Now, some dads that we spoke to at the park said and told us just how much it means to them to be a dad.
It's the world. Everything I do, everything his mother does, the boy's mom, we do everything for the kids.
I love being a father. These kids are the best. Words can't even put it.
Overall, it was a very busy day at that park and elsewhere as the families there came out to celebrate the holiday. They said it was a great time to come out and enjoy the wonderful weather there and also all the food that they cooked. We now head to the streets of San Francisco. Lilia Luciano introduces us now to a couple providing a burst of color in some very unexpected places.
Behold my street art.
We met up with Shalico and Phoenix McGee, who've been leaving their colorful mark on the streets of San Francisco for the last decade.
This is so beautiful.
This is what happens when the entire seed pack goes to bloom.
There's so many colors. It looks like my outfit.
Yeah.
The self-professed guerrilla gardeners plant native wildflowers in forgotten spaces, on streets, in vacant lots, even the grounds of the local police station.
These are beautiful. They're so high.
Yeah, they're popping off.
You bring your shaker like this and the cops don't say anything?
They say thanks for the flowers.
Aww. What is guerrilla gardening?
We plant native pollinator seeds in neglected areas of land, and it's just a nice way to make a forgotten about space, full of flowers. Then you can see the pollinators all flying around in here.
Supporting pollinators, of course, is beneficial for farming, but on the streets of this concrete jungle, the thrill of a successful seed bombing is real.
I think people think it's like fun and like rebellious, and it's getting them excited about planting.
With 250,000 followers on TikTok and over 5 million likes,
look at the different seeds in there.
They've discovered a whole bunch of passionate planters on social media. And it turns out sowing these flowers is good for the soul.
We'll forget that we sowed a place up with seeds, and then we'll turn a corner 3 months later, and all of a sudden you'll see all of the plants.
What's been the most rewarding for you?
We're speaking at schools and universities, and we met with this troop of Girl Scouts.
Put them in the shaker.
And taught them about native wildflowers. They dressed up as bees, and we taught them about pollinators and just the benefits of that. And it's just introducing the next generation to this.
What's it feel like to walk by and see this?
People call it our magic trick, but it's nature's magic trick. We're just helping it along.
Lilia Luciano, San Francisco.
Pretty good stuff there. Still ahead right here on the News Channel, live at 11. Travel troubles at America's airports. That is continuing on. Why hundreds of flights are being canceled and thousands of more passengers are being left stranded. That's straight ahead. And some inmates at a California prison, they are working to make a young boy's Disney dream come true. We'll have that story and much more straight ahead when your News Channel returns live at 11. Welcome back. The latest travel chaos that began with severe weather in the Northeast on Thursday, that is continuing on throughout this weekend, with more than 800 U.S. flights canceled and more than 2,400 more are being delayed. On Friday, the TSA screened more than 2.4 million travelers. That's the most since Thanksgiving weekend last year. Staffing shortages along with severe weather, that's creating a ripple effect that has continued throughout the weekend.
It's a 10 minutes till departure, and then not even 30 seconds later, it all went red and then went canceled.
Some airlines are already trimming their summer flight schedules, hoping to prevent future system-wide meltdowns. California State Prison has dozens of programs that are designed to help rehabilitate inmates and get them ready to return back into regular life. As Stacey Rasmussen reports, through that program, or some of those programs, inmates are helping send a child with a terminal illness to the happiest place on earth.
Prisons and puppies are not two things you usually see together, but Positive Change is a program at North Kern State Prison in Delano that allows inmates with good behavior to train dogs and get them ready to be adopted.
I understand. I mean, we helping rehabilitate the dogs and bring balance and structure to the dog's life, but it also do that with our life as well.
This program teaches empathy, compassion. They're responsible for someone else. They're responsible for another being.
Positive Change is one of 32 programs that encourage good behavior at the prison, and the group involved with Positive Change is going far beyond just training dogs. They sponsor a food drive that raised money to send a kid with a terminal illness from Delano to Disneyland.
And so, to be honest, we cannot grant wishes without community support through donations, volunteers, etc. And it is a wonderful opportunity to see this community come together to be able to support this wish.
How it works is the inmates can spend up to $100 and get a local meal. The money they put towards their food will go towards sponsoring this kid's trip to Disneyland.
I think I maxed out on that, spent my $100 on the Chinese food, and it was pretty amazing that when we found out that it was going to send a child to Disneyland.
So it sounds like a win-win. You get good food and also get to put that money towards a good cause. But there is a catch. You can't participate in these activities or programs without having good behavior.
I don't want to have bad behavior, but because I don't have bad behavior, I get to be in the program, and that's really cool.
From going through disciplinary periods and stuff like that to just having no disciplinary write-ups at all, it lets you know how far you've come, you know? And you don't want to go back. I don't want to get no write-ups under no circumstances.
Teaches these guys compassion, empathy. We get them ready to get back on the streets.
The inmates raised over $8,000 behind bars to grant a young boy his biggest wish, to meet Mickey and Minnie.
It's really cool to be able to know that we can make a positive difference in our society, even though we're in prison.
When you see this type of a community coming together to do something so selfless, it's even more inspiring.
And onto a fire alert. This is in Arizona. It's the Contreras fire that has burned over 20,000 acres since it started last weekend, and it's challenging firefighters to control that. Right now, it's just sitting at 40% contained. The fire is so difficult. The fire right now is rated as the #1 priority to wildland fires in the entire U.S. The priority treatment will allow for more air assets to arrive, and also more foot crews are beginning to arrive as well to try and get that fire under control. Time now for a look at weather with Shawn Quien. Summertime coming up here in just a matter of hours, a couple of days.
Yeah, about a day or so. And also, I think that was Kitt Peak, which is very important for astronomy. So I hope they have it under control, because a lot of money up there for telescopes and whatnot. All right, let's go ahead and look at our outside conditions. You can see still kind of balmy here in Santa Barbara. Wind out of the north-northeast, 38% humidity. That wind, of course, giving us that warmth. And there's your tilt. That's why we have our seasons, is because of the tilt of the Earth. As we march around the sun, we go into our little 4 stages. You have your equinoxes in both March and September. Right now, we're on the opposite end of our December winter solstice, so it's first day of summer coming up, and that means the northern hemisphere is facing dead at the sun, and that means long days and, of course, a lot of solar energy getting to our planet, making us very, very warm. So yes, first day of summer officially on Tuesday, and then we start looking forward to maybe fall and maybe next winter's rains. And there's the wind advisory yet again. Now it's been extended down into Ventura County. Same vitals there all the way till about 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. And of course, temperatures because of that north wind. Look at the 50s for the most part, a few 60s here and there, but then those 70s and almost even close to an 80 in Goleta. Ojai is dropping back down now, so that tells me maybe the wind has backed off a bit, but you can still see fairly brisk out by Gaviota. But it looks like it's weakening, so that might be the good news there. And of course, it also really hammers your humidity values. Look at how moist the atmosphere is in Oxnard, and then it just gets bone dry along the south coast, and it starts to pick up again once you get north and west of Point Conception. And speaking of moisture, monsoon is kicking into gear. This is excellent news. Might even get a little help from ex-tropical storm Hurricane Blas, which is expected to fall apart off the coast of Baja. The problem is you might get dry lightning. So now let's go ahead and focus on our weather. Big area of low pressure to our north is beginning to scoot farther and farther to the east. Of course, that opens the door to high pressure moving in. That's why we have the wind right now, but also expected to warm things up, especially inland over the next few days. In fact, probably right into the first full several days of summer and right into that first weekend of summer. So let's go ahead and look at our futurecast for fog. And it looks like the marine layer won't go away the next couple of days. As you can see, kind of pushing up from the south, a little Catalina eddy, and also along the central coast coming in this direction. But it won't be a really deep, organized marine layer, meaning that it doesn't go very far inland. And because of that, you start to get pretty warm. So last few days or so, we've had some really mild weather in and around much of interior portions of our region, and all the way even out to Bakersfield. They were talking about how cool it was. That will be sort of a long lost memory within about a day or so. Tomorrow night, maybe another wind event. We don't know. Looks like right now it looks like it's on the low side, so hopefully not another advisory. I think it will be the first night. We haven't had one in several. And there are your high temperatures for tomorrow. Now, I don't expect to see areas like Santa Maria and Gaviota getting as warm as that. The computer gets a little zealous with the north wind, but we'll see. I kind of toned it down a bit with my official forecast. And there's your forecasted highs on Tuesday. Again, not expecting some of these areas to get that warm. It's the computer is really picking up on that north wind chance. So we'll go ahead and bring it down just a bit. Don't think we'll see that kind of warmth. So tomorrow, some 80s and 70s for the Santa Barbara South Coast. And as you head up west and north of Point Conception, of course, we're always watching those winds very, very closely. Santa Maria into the 70s. Again, maybe an 80. We're kind of flirting with that right now. I'm thinking more toward the mid 70s or so. And those triple digits almost possible for the southern Salinas Valley. And speaking of 90s, look at Ojai at 96, Santa Paula 88, back out toward the beaches, 70s, and possibly even close to 80 once you get a little bit away from the ocean influence. Surf on the small side, we do have a wind swell. We also have some ground swell under that from the south. And a quick look at your 7-day forecast maps for Santa Barbara. Always keeping an eye on the wind, and that fog won't go away over the next few days, but we will have a chance of seeing maybe better clearing quicker. Inland areas, though, get pretty toasty real quick next week and stay there pretty much all week long. Ventura will go ahead and throw in a lot of 60s and 70s, and again, the marine layer. And as far as Santa Maria, same story there. Although the computer, though, again, it's interesting to watch because of the wind futurecast and the temperature futurecast. They sort of talk to each other, and it says, you know, it's going to get 90 degrees. I don't think quite there, but
you got to watch out for those overzealous computers, right?
Yeah, and you can also blame them too.
Right. Well, pretty good temperatures we've got coming up here this week. All right, thanks, Shawn, for that. Still ahead, sports. Local baseball rivals, they met on the diamond today. We're going to tell you how that turned out, who came out on top. Plus, golf always takes center stage on Father's Day. The U.S. Open, a thrilling finish coming right down to the wire. Final putt on the 18th hole. That's not the final putt. We're going to show you how it all turned out when sports is next after the break. Time for Sports Championship Sunday at the U.S. Open. Will Zalatoris and Mark make that Matt Fitzpatrick enter the final round atop the leaderboard, both looking to not only capture their first ever major championship, but also their first win of any kind on the PGA Tour. Again, Matt Fitzpatrick and Zalatoris battled it out all day along with Scotty Scheffler. This is Fitzpatrick on 13, draining a long birdie putt. That would get him right atop the leaderboard. Now, Zalatoris had a two-stroke lead at one point, had a couple of bogeys, but had a nice par save right here to keep the lead, tied with Fitzpatrick after 14 holes. This was on 15. Fitzpatrick again showing some championship mettle. Sinking the birdie putt, giving him the lead. Now Zalatoris birdied 17, then he needed to birdie this to force a playoff, and it just goes wide left. So Matt Fitzpatrick is your U.S. Open champion, the Englishman winning his first ever PGA Tour event. Scheffler and Zalatoris had to settle for second place, just one shot back. In baseball, the Dodgers finished up their series with Cleveland today. Rubber match against the Guardians. Cleveland starting former UCSB star Shane Bieber today against L.A. was 1-0. Guardians, when Gavin Lux goes into the gap, that would score a run. Dodgers tie up the game 1-1 at that point. A little bit later, it's Freddie Freeman swinging a hot bat now lately. He's going to knock out his 6th home run of the year. Dodgers were up 3-1 at one point, 3-2 entering the 9th inning, but Craig Kimbrell made just an absolute mess of the inning. He would load up the bases and then serve up this hit right here to Andres Jimenez. That's the game winner as the Guardians score 3 in the 9th and rally back, beating the Dodgers by a score of 5-3. In other action, Pittsburgh beats the Giants 4-3. Padres lose in Colorado 8-3. Angels blank Seattle 4-0. And the A's beat Kansas City by the same score. On the local diamond, Foresters and Blues renewing their rivalry in San Luis Obispo tonight. Santa Barbara would take the first meeting of the season between the two area rivals, winning the game 6-5. Foresters improved to 5-4 on the season. The Blues dropped to 7-9. Stay with us. News Channel will be right back after the break. And finally, in honor of Father's Day, we want to leave you with some photos of fathers that we cherish from our News Channel team right here. We want to thank all the dads and all the father figures out there for everything that they do, not only today, but each and every day throughout the entire year. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Our next newscast here on News Channel at 5 a.m. Have a great evening.